I always had a love for the art of real estate. I grew up drawing homes, playing The Sims, managing billionaires' money. And I was like, okay, girl, okay, this is fine. First off, I feel like I'm the spiciest Georgia Tech grad. So I'm trying to take that to the next level. But I didn't feel connected to myself. I had to put a lot of my ego and my pride away and kind of heal from a lot of that so that I could be a valuable partner. You're not going down a path of no return. You're going down a path of true return. Us closing $2 million in real estate, it's a joy. It's a blessing for real. I had this understanding that I'm only as successful as all the people around me.
Hey, Jeremiah, thanks for being here.
Thank you for having me, Benjamin. I'm so excited, so honored.
I am excited to dig into it. And one of the things that stuck out to me is you grew up here in Atlanta, where a lot of people are like moving to Atlanta right now for the opportunity. You were born and raised here. So tell me a little bit about your upbringing.
Oh, yes. So I am born and raised in Atlanta. I know a lot of transplants, a lot of the girls who wanted to come for the opportunity and the excitement of it all. But being born and raised here, especially on the southwest side of Atlanta, I had a very unique experience growing up, a very unique community around me of people who I was in close proximity with on a regular basis. But it was a privilege, honestly, because I got to connect with myself and
Yeah.
learn who I am and what I'm meant to do from an early age. So I'm very grateful to be from Atlanta. I thought and toyed with the idea of leaving, but I'm like, Atlanta just got a hold of me. So, so I'm gonna grab the duct tape.
I love your philosophy on the West Side and all the investors and people that you're helping. And I want to dig into that. But before we get into that, I'm curious, how did you get into real estate in the first place? I know you're a Georgia Tech grad as well. Go
We
Jackets.
see each other. I am, first off, I feel like I'm the spiciest Georgia Tech grad. So I'm trying to take that to the next level. But
Love that.
no, I went to Georgia Tech for finance and for architecture. I
Mm,
started in architecture, and I always had a love for the art of real estate. I grew up drawing homes, playing The Sims, all the things that brought me as close to properties as possible.
right.
And always knew that there was something there that loved that side of the world, that loved
Mhm.
that side of my brain, the creative side. And so I ended up dropping out of architecture and going into finance, the least creative industry, I feel
Yeah,
like.
I was gonna say. And you worked at a is it like a
I worked at a private wealth management firm, an
private
investment
wealth
bank.
management?
So I worked at a very large investment firm here in Atlanta. I mean, it's a multinational firm, but I worked at one here in
Mm.
Atlanta.
So
And
zero creativity.
zero creativity. I'm managing billionaires' money. And I was like, okay, girl, okay, this is fine. Let me give Susie her allowance for the week. But I didn't feel connected to
Mm.
myself. I didn't
Yeah.
feel connected to a greater purpose. I felt like I was helping other people stay connected to their greater purpose, which in turn, is some real estate is somewhat of that. But,
Yeah.
I didn't have much agency over how that happened and how that growth and that journey was emulated or created for the people that I was serving. So yeah, I started in wealth management. I worked there for a good long 8 months and ended up quitting and got my real estate license around the time that I left. My mentor for real estate, he was my parents' real estate agent at the time.
Mm.
And he told me as we were starting a new project, he was like, Jeremiah, you're very tactical. You're very intelligent. I'd love to have you on my team. I know you still work a full-time job, but you need to get into real estate. And I was like, I already been thinking about this. Like, this is kind of crazy. So just how it all opened up. I have this philosophy that things happen in the right time.
Mm.
And I felt as though it was right time, right place. And it was God kind of moving through me in that moment.
Mhm. Speaking of family, you actually now help your family in a flip business.
Yes.
Tell me a little bit about that. What is that like working with your family?
Oh, what isn't it like working with my family? It's probably every emotion you could think of. I love it, because I get this opportunity to bond and grow with my family. We run okay, so my family and I, we run a small business. It's a
Mhm.
fix and flip business where we purchase and renovate homes to resell. And we've been doing it for about 5 years now, primarily focusing on West Atlanta as per usual, as
Mm,
well as Northwest Atlanta, just that whole corridor. It's beautiful and it's so much fun because I've been able to kind of step into this industry with like the backing of my family, being a
yeah.
part of a team with them, and having multiple people kind of bounce things off of. It is honestly, I think of it as a privilege, really,
Mhm.
to have family who was willing to do this. Now, they're not real estate professionals,
Mhm.
they're 9 to 5ers for their whole life. So there's a lot of learning that we're all doing, project over project. But one thing that I love about working with them is that they don't give up. We just continue to go. We continue to grow, continue to move forward, and continue to um, find the purpose in the passion.
One of the first conversations we had, you mentioned that, like, your family had recently closed $2 million worth of real estate in
Mhm.
transactions. What does that mean to you and your family?
It means so, so, so much. It's very validating.
Yeah.
Again, having a small business, having parents who like have very little knowledge of real estate outside of purchasing their own primary homes. It's
Mhm.
like, and very little knowledge of business as business owners. It's like so validating seeing them be able to expand outside of their own worldview and expand into becoming business owners. Us closing $2 million in real estate is honestly it's a joy. It's a blessing for real, and I can't wait to close the next 2 million, and the next 10 million, the next 100 million, or whatnot with them.
It's so powerful to, like, see people like you build generational wealth for their families. And I feel like that gives purpose for so many of us. So I love to see it, and I wish your family business all the success.
Thank you.
Let's get into the challenges, though. Like, what are some of the challenges working with family, and then maybe some of the blessings?
um, so I know at least for me, I had a very unique relationship with my family
Mhm.
growing up queer and black in a very Southern Baptist household.
Yeah.
So I had a lot that I had to learn and understand, a lot of
Mhm.
forgiving to do when it came to even allowing myself to feel safe in relationship with my
Yeah.
family. For a while, I was kind of like, I'm doing me, like I pray for y'all, like I'm just doing me. But when we made the decision to start our family business, it became real and it became an opportunity for me to really have to really take some time for introspection
Mm.
and to say, okay, Jeremiah, if this is what you're looking to do and this is what y'all's goals are, your goals are to create opportunities, create wealth, to develop and build up neighborhoods on the west side, to be kind of a light for other people who are looking to do the same thing in this
Mhm.
space. I had to put a lot of my ego and my pride away and kind of heal from a lot of that so that I could be a valuable partner. And I
Mhm.
feel like my parents have also done a lot of that soul searching and work as well, which is beautiful. Now, it's still a journey and, it's interesting because they kind of see me as their business partner. They see me as their real estate professional.
Mhm.
It's a real estate business, but they also see me as their child. So it's like, sometimes lines can get a little bit blurred, but I think that's the fun in
Mhm.
doing real estate with people or doing business with people that you know and love.
Yeah.
It's like, whether it's real estate or not, you get the opportunity to be a bit more flexible and fluid with how it works. And you get the opportunity to really set in stone where your boundaries are and
Mhm.
where they lie. Because when you can set boundaries with people that you know and love, you can set boundaries with anybody.
Mhm. Yeah. The hardest part is working and creating a successful business with your family. If you can survive that, you can survive anything.
Sitting over here like how World War III, we about to go back to war. Like, right for me.
Let's switch gears into your cohort.
Yes.
So you run a agent movers and shakers cohort.
hmm
Who is that for? What kind of people are in that room?
Yes. So I run a beautiful cohort called the Movers and Shakers for Young Investors of Color. And primarily, we are focusing on young investors in and around the West Side. I work with a lot of the cohort members, which is fantastic. They're a lot of my past
Mm.
clients. And my philosophy has always been, especially coming from a private wealth background, like, what can we do to help you grow your wealth while you're living in your home? It's like, especially as young people, a lot of my clients are young, just out of college like me. We don't have the infrastructure
Yeah.
right now to do our first flip or to do our first or buy an investment property with 20-30% down or whatnot. So how can we fast track creating that financial opportunity for ourselves? So the cohort is a lot of coming up with creative ways to create wealth for ourselves,
Mhm.
substantiating the businesses that we already have so that we can run bigger and more intelligent businesses. As young investors of color, I feel like there is a system that is almost set up against us, even in
Yeah.
a city like Atlanta that is so Black and
Mhm.
so wealthy. There is a system that is set up to see us not succeed in those
Yeah.
spaces. A lot of the members of the cohort tell me that even members of their own family are so far gone that they're questioning why they're buying houses and they're questioning
Yeah.
why they're making these sorts of moves and creating these sorts of opportunities. And they had to, I've seen this so much during the home buying process with my clients having to kind of get over the hurdles of their own self doubt,
Yeah.
understanding that, you worked really hard and you
Mhm.
created this opportunity for yourself. So a lot of it is that validation
Yeah.
and constant that constant validation,
Mhm.
over and over again, reminding these people like you are doing your big one. Like
Yeah.
you are creating opportunities that most people aren't. And you are doing it the right way. You're
Mhm.
not going down a path of no return. You're going down a path of true return.
Mhm. Yeah, and it's a shame that, like, a lot of investors, no matter black, white, whatever, purple, like, there's a lot of gatekeeping happening. Like, knowledge is power, and, like, getting in the rooms where you're able to lift up the curtain and talk about, "All right, this is what makes a good investment property. This is how we buy an investment property. This is like what, step 1 through 100." It's so important to share the knowledge, and there's really no reason to, like, keep it for yourself.
I agree. I mean, why gatekeep when I have this understanding that I'm only as successful as all the people around me.
Mm,
And why not allow my clients to become successful? It only benefits us all.
yeah.
It helps us all. It helps us all grow and expand. And now we can all do more business and we can all
Mhm,
expand. So I think it is a privilege to be able to share and to be able to bring together a community of people who keep coming back month over month, wanting to learn more and wanting to expand more, to now have different vendors or different people who want to support the cohort financially
mhm.
or um, bring their own perspective and their own knowledge. It is like, it's really beautiful. And like you said, why hold that so tight?
Mhm.
Because once you let go and once you release, you're able to receive.
Yeah. Yeah, I've been thinking about that a lot, honestly, as we get into this next phase and we're launching our brokerage motto. It's like creating a bubble, almost like a big enough bubble that you can then provide opportunity for other agents, other partners to grow their bubble. And like your bubble and your mission has to be big enough to hold everybody else's. So that's kind of what you're doing with this cohort. I'm wondering, like, what does that mission kind of mean for you?
What it means for me is it means that I'm fulfilling my purpose.
Hmm.
I always knew, especially like back when I was in college and looking for a job and looking for what opportunities I wanted to kind of step into. I always knew that my goal was to help Black people build wealth. That was kind of what it all boiled down to.
Hmm.
And like I said, working in private wealth management, I had 0 Black clients. I was
Yeah.
like, "Where are the Black people?" And I'm barely helping myself build wealth.
Yeah.
It's like, child, I'm over here stressing out and struggling every day.
Yeah.
So being in a space now where I can legitimately see the tangible effects of
Mm,
the community, the conversation,
yeah.
and the cohort itself, it is very validating. I believe now more than ever with the kind of new wave of content and the new wave of conversation that
Mm,
we're having on a mass level. So much of what we're being told is for consumption. It's a
mhm.
lot of conversation or content that's being poured out to us that's primarily for consumption and
Yeah.
for making money for somebody else to make money. But why not create content and create spaces for people
Mhm.
that's for collaboration and that's for community and that's for collective
Mhm.
growth? So I'm kind of figuring out a way to circumvent the norm so that
Mhm.
people can understand that they are safe and that things are okay and that, you are on the right path. It's almost like therapy for me
Yeah.
sometimes, and it's precious.
It sounds like you're making a massive impact. Let's dig into some of the strategies. You have talked about house hacking.
Hmm.
What is house hacking? What is that strategy? Tell me a little bit about that. I love house hacking, by the way, so I'm just
Period.
asking. That's how we got started, but it's the best way to get started. But you tell me, house hacking.
Yeah, house hacking is a strategic investment strategy where you purchase a property, a primary residence, and you live in it while you're renting out portions of the
Mm,
property, making money. And a lot of my clients, first time investors, that's the strategy that we're following.
mm,
So typically we're going down the short term rental route where they're forcing a duplex out of their property, buying a ranch on a basement,
yeah.
most primarily now, or some sort of a split level. And they're able to house hack out their basement. And
Mhm.
typically they're generating 70 to 100% of their monthly mortgage out of a space in their home.
Yeah.
So they're able to not only not pay a mortgage, but they're able to save those funds to buy another property faster. Typically, once you have, or typically once you're generating 1.25% of your month to month mortgage,
Mhm.
the lender is they're able to pre-qualify you without that mortgage being part of your debt to income ratio. So the goal is to set them up so that all of the rooms minus their primary room are generating 80 to 100% of their monthly
Mhm.
mortgage so that that primary bedroom can take them over that threshold and get them what will get them to that point to where they can transition out of that property into their next one.
Yeah. Yeah. No, absolutely. I think the best part is it's also one of the quickest ways to build wealth. Like you're working with people that may have been disadvantaged, may not have like a massive 20%, 25% down payment,
Mhm,
but they still want to have that investor mindset. They still want to, get ahead quickly. So by using a owner occupant loan,
mhm,
putting as little as 3, 5% down, that's all they really need, plus some closing costs.
mhm,
And they're in a property, they have a place to live, and they're renting out part of it to help them pay off the mortgage, save more money, rinse and repeat.
mhm. And, two things. One, there was a revelation that some of the cohort members had recently where they were like, I can make my whole yearly salary in one deal. And I'm like, Yeah, you can."
Mhm.
And, also through the house hacking, I literally have clients who are my age owning multiple properties. They
Yeah.
own multiple homes now, and they're
Mhm.
stepping into that space, and they have those properties, and they didn't have to put 20% down for any of them.
Yeah.
And now they can leverage those properties to buy more
Yeah.
if need be. They're house hacking property over property, but now you have properties that you can use as collateral or as leverage to purchase new properties.
Mhm.
So we're pulling out HELOCs, we're doing cash out refis, we're doing what we can to kind of move the money around to make it
Mhm.
so that your portfolio is working for you. And these are still clients who, Black Georgia Tech, I gotta make sure I stand up for BGT. They're coming out of Georgia Tech making good money.
Yeah.
They're not paying for living expenses.
Mhm.
They're able to save, they're able to expand, and they're able to now my clients are traveling. They're exploring the world. They're, doing new things that their colleagues who are renting their $3,000 a month apartments
Mhm.
can't do.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, ladies, like let's take it to the next level. What do we need to do to continue to expand,
Mhm.
like to continue to grow and to continue to validate the fact that you're in on the right path?
Mhm.
I see so many people so often we're othered in these
Yeah.
spaces and we're shunned out of conversations around wealth
Mhm.
and around uh, good debt and around the timeline of the journey. We feel like we have to rush our way into things and we feel like we have to fast track success, and it is that just step by step by step by step by step that the cohort I feel like creates for the members that makes it so successful.
Mhm. Yeah, and speaking to agents out there, these are repeat clients. Like, I'm sure you're starting to see it now after a few years. Like, if these investors do it right, they're doing one house hack a year. And for
Mhm.
agents, that means like, all right, we're getting like a transaction done every year,
Mhm.
which is massive.
It is beautiful, and not only is it repeat clients, but also I'm able to talk to other people about the fact that I have the cohort, people who don't own properties,
Hmm.
and I'm like, "If you wanna learn, I would love to invite you into a cohort," and,
Yeah.
like, they're always like, "Oh my god, yeah," and that's converted many people into home buyers as well because they realize, again, like, it's just a system you have to follow.
Hmm.
Just follow the steps, and you'll get into your property.
For agents out there that are starting to work or might work with first time investors, what do you think is the number one mistake you see those types of clients make?
The number one mistake I see those types of clients make, first-time investors, um, I'd say, like, trying to get into too much more than they can bargain is
Yeah.
like, I have clients who or I've had clients who, who are too cheap,
Mhm.
that's kind of a big thing where it's like, okay, you can't be too cheap when
Mhm.
especially when you're trying to house hack.
Yeah.
It's like if you're having somebody else move into the house, like you being too cheap,
They're
you're
gonna
gonna
wanna live there too, like,
yeah.
yeah.
It's like, you gotta live there, they gotta live there, like, okay. So, I feel like one of the biggest things is people being too cheap or trying to, or too fear-based. Like,
Mhm.
I feel like even just being cheap is based in fear.
Yeah.
Being too fear-based when it comes to the process, and a lot of that, gets remediated through working with somebody like me. I'm able to explain to them the process. I'm able to show them other stories of people following the process, and I'm able to bring them into the cohort so that they can kind of get around that headspace. I've had many a cohorts where we've had come to Jesus moments with people
Mhm.
like, calm down, take a breath, like you're gonna be okay. And then they were able to move through the process as per usual
Mhm.
or as normal. So I feel like eliminating a fear-based mind space
Yeah.
and trusting yourself and trusting the process, trusting in me to make sure that you're following down the right path. I'm not
Mhm.
gonna put you in a house that I wouldn't want you in, I wouldn't wanna live in,
Yeah.
I would never do that. So kind of reminding them over and over again, like, "You're okay.
Mhm.
You're gonna be okay."
That's no, seriously, that's great advice.
Yeah, I feel like especially in minority communities, again, we can lean into that fear-based mind
Mhm.
space so easily because so much gets yanked from us over and time and time and time again. So, we feel like we have to hold on to the
Mhm.
things that we have, but it's like, no, again, release, let
Mhm.
go,
Mhm.
and see how the world opens up.
I wanna get back to your creativity. One of the businesses that you run that I'm super excited about is Design in a Box. Tell me how you came up with that idea.
Design in a box is my construction design business.
Mm.
So I do construction design for investors and homeowners. We start at planning, permitting, and we go all the way through until project completion. I'll do everything except find you a couch. So I'm not doing interior design, I'm doing the homes design.
Right.
Uh, and it is a joy. And it came out of my just again, my love for the art of
Mm.
the home. I grew up, researching and reading about so many of the greats in the design and architecture business, people like Corey David Jenkins, people like Paul R. Williams,
Mm.
Zaha Hadid, just so many of the greats who have inspired and created for us to interact with is what inspired and created me to step into this space. So, um it was born kind of out of doing the fix and flips with my parents
Yeah.
in our family business. I started whenever I started in the business, I was doing the design. And my very first project that I worked on with them, we purchased the project for $80,000. We put about 150 in it and we sold it for 375. And
Wow.
we were like the highest sale in the neighborhood. And it was a very quick, we were from list to close was 30 days. It was like a crazy situation, and a lot of it was because of the design and of the vision. People
Mhm.
came into the house and fell in love
Yeah.
immediately, and so it was very validating, and I took that, um, project over project, kind of refining my skills. People began asking me like, "Jeremiah, I want you to
Yeah.
help me design this
Can
and
you design, yeah.
give me some advice on that, and give
I'm
me some."
sure on the cohort too, it's like investors is like, that's one of the steps.
Yeah.
How do, my contractor, it's something investors struggle with all the time. And I know agents listening, like, know this as well. We've been in all those flips where it's like,
A mess.
what did you guys do? Like, I can't even, this bathroom's not even functional. Like, this tile doesn't even match the countertop. Like,
Or
well,
why am I sitting on the toilet and washing my hands at the same time?
right.
It's like
It's such a needed thing, and it makes such a impact on, like, the ARV and, like, actually selling the property, actually having a buyer walk through and say, "Oh, wow, all this just, like, feels right,
Mhm.
and there's nothing that's bothering me, and it's like, I can make this my home."
Yes. Yeah. I mean, it is about that feeling and that connection. I I've learned, especially now being in design for a few years now, that the opportunities are limitless.
Mm,
Anything can be done. We're so used to this like rigid like structure,
yeah.
what we expect a home to look like and to feel like.
Mm,
But design, good design goes so much further than that. I just got back from the International Builder Show, the KBIS International Builder Show out in Orlando. I literally just landed 2 hours ago from the Builder Show, and being there and seeing what design is becoming
yeah.
and where things are headed, it's limitless, the
Mm,
opportunities. I'm working with clients for their own primary homes where I get to be so creative and so fluid and so free with how it comes together. And like people love that. They love interacting with their homes now. They love, experiencing and feeling. I say that the good design is more than form, is function.
mhm.
And how does the home function for you? That's what good design is.
Well, I certainly wish I had you in my corner when we design our first, like, house hack, because it is not looking great right now. This was back in, like, 2019
Mhm.
when those gray tones were all over the place.
Agreeable
Like,
gray.
yeah, agreeable gray walls. We got the, gray vinyl plank. We've got everything's just gray. We thought it was a thing, but man, do I regret that.
They living fresh in there. At least they know it's clean and sterile.
Other than, like, making your home gray, what do you think is the number one mistake that homeowners make or agents make when advising homeowners?
I think the number one mistake, the number one design mistake. Ooh, okay. I'll give you 2. So one, when people are renovating, fixing, and flipping homes,
Mm,
they one thing that I see more often than not is people forget closet space.
mm,
And the people of today, like, require closet space. We don't
yeah,
like, back, 100 years ago when these houses were built,
mhm,
like, people had their 2 shirts and 2 pair of pants
yeah.
and called it a day, but now
There's no closets in the bedrooms in the old homes,
no.
yeah.
No closets, no pantries, no coat closet,
Yeah,
no storage, no extra
mhm,
storage space. People of today, again, I'll take it back to it, but like we live in a very capitalist society. People are buying a lot of things. People are consumers. We have things in our home. We're storing a lot of stuff in our property. So I feel like people forget closet space when it comes to fixing and flipping homes. And then I feel like another big design mistake is cheaping out on, floors and windows.
mm,
Um, Floors especially, um, like, going with the going like, quality will always sell, and I feel like more often than not, spending the extra, you know, 10% on higher quality floors or higher quality windows brings you that return in the long run,
mhm,
whether the property sits on the market for less time or, whether you can just enjoy it more. Like, you're not walking on these cold, hard, dead floors.
mhm,
So I think people, again, being kind of living in a fear-based mind space, especially when
yeah,
it comes to working their design, not working with good designers. So instead of taking those funds and putting them towards things that matter, putting them towards things that don't matter. I was actually at the convention, and we had there was a kind of speaker event that was going on, and one thing that they shared was like a lot of the times homeowners, they don't know what's going on. They don't know what they're
mm,
doing. They lean on the contractor who also is not a designer,
right,
and people will try to like they'll think about like, "Oh, I wanna design my dining room to fit this, like, 20 person table for Thanksgiving." And it's
mm,
like, you host once a year.
yeah,
Why not take that money and design for your closet, the
mhm.
space that you're gonna be living in and enjoying and experiencing every day? So, kind of getting people out of trying to design for everybody else, but instead designing for themselves, I
Mm.
feel like is another big pillar.
Mm.
I can keep rambling.
No, you're good. I mean, agents, you heard it here. If your clients need some design like help, or you're helping a client through a flip or whatever it is, or if your house isn't selling, design in a box, reach out to Jeremiah.
We
So
will help, okay? And we will be real.
I want to shift into some branding, because the cool thing is I actually found you on TikTok. My wife and I were like scrolling and we're like, who is this guy? I need to talk to him. What is when did at what point did you realize that social media was becoming like a growth engine for you?
From the very beginning of my business, like literally from day one, I announced the fact that I was a real estate agent on social media, and that very first post, I got my first client
Mm,
who I closed. So it was immediate. Um, my now partner back then was just my social media manager, Tyrese. He was managing my social media for the first, I say, year and a half, 2 years of my business. And I was posting pretty much like I say 4 times a week on Instagram.
hmm.
And all of my business was coming from that, like all of
Yeah.
it. So it was very validating because I became very comfortable behind the camera. I became very comfortable in what I was selling. And my clients became very aware and comfortable with working with me.
Yeah.
Being a young agent, there's not much tenure there, and there's very few people I feel as a young agent who will go to young people as their trusted advisor,
Hmm.
especially in situations like this. So having social media, you're almost able to create whatever image you want. And you're able to kind of decide who you are and who
Hmm.
you choose to be. And literally from the beginning, I went all in on my social presence, and it tenfolded.
Hmm. What would you say to like agents that are struggling and maybe don't have like a Tyrese to help them out in the beginning? Or what would you tell them? What piece of advice would you tell them to get started and get going on social media?
Find a Tyrese. No, I'm just
Yeah, we're just gonna plug people.
find a
Tyrese, Kings Connect.
Find King Connect. Like, no, I mean, find somebody to help you. I mean,
Yeah.
if you're struggling and you keep trying and you can't seem to get over the hump, like find somebody to help you. There's so many people that are willing and ready and excited to help you, and people who you may not even have to pay that much or pay at all.
Mhm.
Maybe it's an accountability partner.
Yeah.
Maybe it's a cohort or a group, a small group. Maybe you create your own small group. I say do that, but then also like take some time to do some soul searching and
Mhm.
know who you are.
Yeah.
Because when you know who you are and what you want people to know about you or about real estate or about your business or whatnot, it becomes so much easier to talk about that. Like I'll get on TikTok and I'll just go off about why, people need to stop hating on the West Side. And it's
Yeah.
like, I'm keeping it real cute, but I'm being honest.
Yeah.
And it's easy for me to film it. It's easy for me to post it because there's not a lot that goes into that.
Mhm.
I don't even need Tyrese to help me edit those videos because I can just set up the camera, talk, and post it.
Yeah.
So understand who you are and what your goals are, and just share it with the people
Uh,
and find a Tyrese.
yeah. And that's Tyrese King at King Connect.
At King Connect. Okay.
We're not gatekeeping here at all. So we're
Mm-mm.
gonna share the wealth. Um, yeah, it's crazy because I had a conversation with Sierra Pardee,
Yes, I
which
love Sierra.
she was on the podcast last week. She just crushes it online. Her personal brand is like 40,000 followers, and she made a really good point. It's like our industry is changing. Agents are becoming real estate like branding agencies. We're like, it's all about the marketing. It's all about how you can stand out online. And it's really is such a big part of the business. And I think it's only going to continue to be so vital moving forward.
I mean, you don't have to be good, or you don't have to be good to do good anymore.
Mm,
You just have to look good to do good.
yeah.
So, there is again a lot of content is consumer based and people are always trying to sell something. So, coming with true value can help you not only look good, but show that you're doing good. I
Mm,
think that it is a huge shift that we're experiencing right now where we're all kind of marketing firms for ourselves. We
Yeah.
have to market our businesses in order to get clients. But as this shift unfolds, I feel as though people are going to really begin leaning into the people who know what they're saying, the people who bring true value or have something, some sort of unique value proposition to them to trust as their advisor versus just like the flashy person on social
Mhm.
media. It's like, people are starting to get past the facade.
Mhm. I was just, like, thinking as you were talking, how do you handle it all? Like, if we can just shift into your mindset, because 'cause you're a CEO, you run Keys for Keith, you're a leader in your brokerage, you're an investor, developer, you run cohorts, you run design in a box, like, you got so much going on, Jeremiah. Like, how do you keep it all straight?
Oh, oh, no.
Or do you?
I'm like, oh no, I think this year was a pivotal year for me
Mm,
when it comes to really understanding how to keep it all between the ditches, as my grandma says.
yeah.
Um, for a long time I was just throwing everything out the wall, just like,
Mm,
getting up every day and just trying to do everything.
right.
And it was fulfilling-ish, but it was like disappointing. And, I would get up so many days and feel disappointed because I couldn't give my all to my clients. If I'm running all these businesses and doing all these things, I have to give 100% to all the people that are trusting me, whether it's
Yeah.
in the cohort, my design in the box, whether it's my real estate clients, whatever. I have to give 100% every day to these people. So I at the top of this year, I sat down with myself and did
Mhm.
some true reflection and introspection. I took about a week to be intentional about
Yeah.
what it is that I am and who it is that I am, what it is that I need to kind of put to the side right now, and what it is that I can go all in on. And now I have created more of a regimen around how I operate my businesses.
Yeah.
Having the right CRMs and having the right tools is obviously a huge part of this. So,
Mhm.
if somebody's interested in designing a box, I don't have to talk to them until they've already scheduled, until they see my pricing, they see my services, and they schedule the call. That's
Yeah.
when I begin to expend energy into a client. It's not like me trying to bring people in and me trying to, get convince them to take a call with me. It's like if you can afford me, then we can talk.
Right.
When it comes to my real estate business, working with an assistant or working with a transactions coordinator and being very like, kind of dependent on them a bit
Sure.
more has helped as well. But really having regimen around how I operate my business. I like to work in different spaces. So if
Mhm.
I'm working as a designer, I like to go to a design center or a design space where I can sit down and be focused solely on that. I'm working as an agent. I like to go to um, uh, maybe an office, maybe my office or a shared workspace or somewhat that
Mhm.
is like a bit more catered to that side of things.
Mhm.
So I'd say, and I'm still a work in progress. I'm still figuring it out,
Right.
but being thoughtful and being intentional about your limitations,
Mhm.
and knowing what you can and can't do and where you can and cannot give, it allows you to be a better entrepreneur
Mhm.
because you're not trying to give everything to everybody,
Mhm.
something that none of us can do.
Yeah. Yeah. One of the big things, I personally was working on this past year is like transitioning from being a yes man to like start being a no man. Like, gotta
Yeah.
say no to certain things
Yeah.
because everybody has 24 hours in a day. That's all you have. So, everything you say yes to, you're saying no to something else. So, you just need to kind of take a step back, like you said, and figure out what is important, what's the priority, what do I need to focus on.
I think that's a powerful mindset. I think that's a very powerful mindset to have, and I feel like it's it's like an easy concept to understand,
Mhm.
but you have to do the soul searching
Mhm.
to find that in yourself
Mhm.
because, I know for me, I've dealt with having a victim complex. I've dealt with, you know, um, I've dealt with a lot of shame,
Mhm.
and so it can be easy to be like yes, 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 yes to everybody, so that you can please everybody. And so
Mhm.
that, you're not disappointing people of authority or disappointing my parents or
Mhm.
disappointing, my partner, whoever, leaders or whatnot. So, um, some of that is maybe therapy, some of that may be meditation, some of that may be just having a morning routine that
Yeah.
centers and grounds you. But like continue to connect to that, that thought of not being a yes man.
Yeah.
and not being so willing to be everything for everybody
Absolutely.
is huge.
So what's next for you then? What's the next like couple years look like for you?
Just expansion,
Mm,
expansion, 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 and in myself and in the opportunities that I'm creating for the people around me and in the community.
mm,
I want to expand my community at a high level. And I want to see the people around me creating opportunities for themselves that they've
mm,
never seen possible. Um, I see myself stepping even farther into being a designer,
mm,
developer, and being able to do larger and larger and larger projects. I'm starting my biggest project, in my business very soon, which I'm very excited about. And I'm like, oh my gosh, this is just the beginning. Um, I am working with my GC right now, literally as we speak, to get my basement situated so I can start house hacking myself because I can't I need to practice what I be preaching. And I'm like, my
yeah,
clients, they running. I need to be running with them.
yes.
So
Love that.
going ahead and getting my basement ready for house hacking. As an entrepreneur, we have to create streams of passive income.
Mm,
Or I mean, house hacking really isn't that passive, but like, it's more passive than like getting up every day and selling real estate.
yeah.
So like we have to create those different streams of income. So having my design in the box business and now seeing that income flow in between closings is like, oh gosh, like look at me, I can go get some sushi and I can
Yeah.
go live my life. So definitely expansion in that, but also what's to come, and I think this is something I'm excited about. My partner and I, we're going to be doing a lot of traveling,
Mm,
of traveling. Last year we went to Asia. I think last time we spoke, I had just gotten back from Asia. So,
right.
going out, just out and exploring the world, seeing the world from a different viewpoint,
Mm.
doing a lot more of that, and tapping into my own center, my
Mhm.
spirit.
Where's your next trip?
Well, next just trip or a big trip, like international trip.
Yeah.
I say our next international trip is back to Asia. We're going back to Asia this year.
Okay, so we
Uh,
love Asia. I
yeah, so
love
we're
it.
going back to Asia this year. Love Asia. We want to do more of China. We only dipped our toe into China. We were in Macau and Hong
Mm,
Kong, which is like China-ish. So really wanted to go into China, get my visa. Going back to Thailand, absolutely.
mhm.
And I really want to go to the Maldives. That's kind of at the top of the
Ooh.
list for me.
You gotta save up for that one. We Lexi and I looked into the Maldives for our honeymoon a few years back, and we're like, I guess we're going to Thailand."
Yeah. I know, I'm like, "Oh," but I do want to go to Africa. I know you guys just came back from Africa not too long ago,
Mhm.
and Africa is top of the list for me as well. I wanna do kind of the East Coast, Eritrea, Kenya,
Mm,
Egypt. I wanna see, I wanna see
I
Africa as
love that.
well.
Your story is so inspirational, and there's so many things that you've touched on, like maximizing assets, like, focusing, just like pouring into your clients, caring for finding your clients, those younger investors that are of color. Like, it's just all so inspirational, and you're having fun on top of it. Traveling, like, it seems like you you kinda got it going on, Jeremiah.
I appreciate it. We're creating the next generation. It's
Mm,
like, you know, as there are so many conversations about how bleak things are becoming, why not create abundance?
mm,
Especially for people who are most susceptible to that bleakness.
yes.
It's like, let's create opportunities and abundance so that we can bring our people up and so that we can not only stay afloat, but fly,
Yeah.
soar, truly.
The
So,
quickest way to create abundance for yourself is to enable and create it for others.
yeah.
So, well, I feel like I could just sit here and talk to you forever, but we gotta wrap it up here. So I've got one more question for you. We ask this question to every single guest, and this is called the Atlanta Agent Playbook
Mhm.
podcast. So I'm curious, what is that one play that you want to add to our playbook? The one play, the piece of advice, that mindset that will make agents out there as successful as Jeremiah Keith.
The one play that I want to give to everybody is to follow your heart.
Mm,
Follow your heart. Your heart will tell you, go from here to here.
mm,
It's something huge that a mentor told me um, years and years and years ago was that the time to be ready is not the time to get ready.
mm,
And so trust and believe in what it is and who it is that you are so that you can be ready.
I love that. Follow your heart. So that's our play that we're adding here. Jeremiah, thanks for opening your heart to us. Like I said, your story is just so inspirational. I get so pumped up listening to you speak. So thank you for being an agent. Thank you for being, down to earth. Thank you for everything that you do for the Atlanta agent community.
Thank you for creating spaces and opportunities for people like me to even share our stories.
I really enjoyed this conversation.
Yes, me too. I'm grateful.
Thanks for being here.
Thank you.
Boom.